Hey everyone, welcome to my channel where I give bookkeeping and tax tips to entrepreneurs and small business owners. My name is Christian Brooks. I'm the owner of Brooks Bookkeeping and Accounting Services, a bookkeeping and tax firm that seeks to empower and educate women of color entrepreneurs and small business owners on their business finances and taxes. So today I am coming to you with a video on how to get grants. So I have served as a grant reviewer quite a few times, and I've noticed that people are making some of the same mistakes on their applications. So I wanted to come on here and give you all a couple tips on how to make your applications competitive to make sure you are securing those funds. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First tip, make sure you are answering all the questions. Not answering questions on a grant application is a very easy way to lose points and to knock yourself out of the running for getting the grant. Even if the question does not apply to your business, still answer the question anyway. The only time you can skip a question is if it says it is optional, or if it specifically says if this does not apply to your business, then don't answer the question. Other than that, come up with an answer. Number two, make sure your answers are clear. So I can't tell you how many applications I have read where people will give these super long, convoluted answers, and I really didn't understand what it was they were even trying to say. So when you're writing out the answer to your application questions, make sure you have somebody else read through it to make sure that they understand what you're trying to say. And if they don't understand what you're trying to say, try to go back to the drawing board and make some edits, because it is extremely important that your answers are going to come across clear. Make sure that when you have an outside person look over your answers, it's somebody who is not within your industry, because the person that's reading your application, depending on what grant you're applying for, might not be in the same industry that you are in. So try to avoid using industry specific jargon or talking about things in a way that only someone who is in your industry would understand, so that you know that you are speaking clearly and speaking to an audience that may or may not be within your industry. Okay, number three, provide details and examples where you can. So I have, again, come across many applications where someone will answer the question, but they would only give like one or two sentences to answer the question. And while if the one or two sentences answers the questions, they will get points, you're probably not going to get full points for a one or two sentence answer. You want to give some details and give some examples. It will make your answer stronger and allow the person who is reviewing your application to get more of an idea of what you're trying to do, and it will make a better case for you to get the money that you need. Number four, make sure that you are uploading all of the required documents. Go through the documents list, upload everything. If you don't have a document, then contact whoever is administering the grant and ask them, what can you upload instead? There are a number of grants that I've reviewed where people did not upload the proper documentation, and even though it was a really good application, they either got disqualified or lost a lot of points because they didn't simply do what the grant asked them to do. Okay, number five, make sure that the amount that you are asking for is reflected in the budget. So most of the time when you are submitting a grant application, the application is going to ask you to submit a budget for the project that you are pursuing. Make sure that the amount that you put on the application that you want for the grant is reflected in the budget. I have seen many applications where someone is asking on the application for $100,000, but then they submit a $20,000 grant. So if that application gets approved, guess how much money they're getting? They're getting $20,000. They're not getting the entire $100,000, because your budget is supposed to help you make a case for why you need that entire amount. If the budget only says $20,000, then you have only made a case for $20,000 and you're only going to get $20,000. So make sure that you are doing all of your research. You're talking to contractors. You are looking up products that you'll need. You're looking up different devices that you'll need. You are looking at like Glassdoor for salaries or hourly wages if you need to hire people, whatever the case may be, so that you are putting together an accurate budget, and that budget reflects the number that you are asking for in the grant. Again, the grant is going to ask you how much money are you requesting, and then it's going to ask you to submit a budget. Make sure that those two numbers are the same.
Okay, I just wanted to come on here and mention really quickly that sometimes you will have your budget that is going to be higher than the grant amount that you're asking for, or higher than the ceiling of the grant. In those cases, you want to make sure that you are putting on the application where you're going to get the rest of the money from. People are going to be reluctant to give money if they do not think that you'll be able to get the rest of the money for the project to even happen. It's like a waste of money to them. Like, think about it. If somebody came to you and asked you for $10,000, but what they're really trying to do is $50,000, if you don't know how they're going to get the rest of that money, you'll be more reluctant to give them your $10,000 because it'll be kind of like a waste. So make sure that whenever you are submitting a grant application, if the budget for the project is higher than the ceiling of the grant, you are giving information on how you are going to get the rest of the money to make that project happen.
So this is the last one. We kind of already went over this. This is number 6. Make sure you have someone read through your application before you submit it. And this is if you cannot afford a grant writer. If you can't afford a grant writer, I do recommend that you get one. Based on my experience of reviewing grants, people who have hired a grant writer, their scores tend to be higher than people who didn't, because as a grant writer, you kind of know what to do and you know how to answer the questions, you know what to include in order to make the answer stronger, things of that sort. Whereas somebody who's not a grant writer won't necessarily know that, especially if they are not, they don't have a whole lot of experience with applying for grants. However, if you can't necessarily afford to hire a grant writer, so you are applying for the grant yourself, make sure that you are giving your application to at least 1 to 2 other people so that they can look through your application and make sure that it makes sense. They need to check to see if you answered all the questions, how well you answered all the questions. Remember, we talked about, are your answers clear? Have you given examples? Can you give more details? Is the budgeted amount and the amount that you are requesting the same? Things of that sort. It can also help you to catch mistakes that you weren't necessarily able to see because you've been working on the grant for so long. Ideally, you want to have somebody who is in your industry and someone who is not within your industry to look over your grant application. And again, the person who's not within your industry specifically, because depending on what grant you are applying for, the person reading your application might not be within the same industry as you. So you want to make sure that someone who is not within your industry can still understand your answers. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with another entrepreneur. Alrighty, see you next time.